Your schedule released last night, Friday edition of the program from the undisclosed location on the west side of Cleveland and from the palatial estate of your Uncle Bo. How you doing, boys? Good to see you, Z.
It's good to see you through the phone. I wish that I was, beside you in real life at the undisclosed location. But, it's a beautiful Friday. We got the rookies here. I got a chance to talk with DeJuan Jones. I got a chance to talk with Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Some fine young men added certainly into the Browns program, and so that was fun. There's a little bit of a buzz, I would say, at the Cross Country Mortgage campus with the rookies in town. So it's been good. Nice weather. Again, we love to see that. And then I think last night, the schedule release, a lot of fun. Obviously, I enjoyed getting to see people and see the reactions to it. Myself and the Miz providing a little commentary. Although I did get a note from somebody that was a good one. We should have had a cartoon version of ourselves at the desk in the thing.
That would have been great. That would have been very cool.
Right.
I got big time McMahon, Jesse the Body vibes. That was to me. I don't know if that was the intent, but it felt like that to me.
It was just us kind of riffing, a lot of it and going just off the cuff. But, yeah, I thought Mike especially had some, whoa, McMahon, Jesse the Body vibes, which was a lot of fun. And, it was funny because somebody had mentioned to me about the cartoon part of it. And I said, you know what, I need a cartoon redemption after that poster. I needed a redemption, and this could have been the shot. But, nonetheless, it was awesome to be a part of it and had a ton of fun doing it. And I think that, over the whole landscape, I'm certainly very proud of what we did and have to give a huge shout out to Jeff McDaniel, who put it together from
awesome.
Our content and production team. It was really his brainchild to do something in wrestling, and there were a bunch of different ways that it could have gone. And then this is what we ended up with, and I thought it did well. I thought it held up. We didn't have the benefit of the the decline of the intelligence of humanity like the Titans had at their benefit, or just in that case, just the ignorance about professional sports teams, clearly. But I thought it was good, and I thought it was fun. And now we'll get into the schedule, later on in the program. But it's cool that this has become kind of an event.
It's an event for the in-house media teams, is what it is, and it is something that the NFL Network, that NFL media, NFL social media, it is something that is really important to those people to land the plane on it. And there was no lack of star power around the league.
Yeah.
And I saw probably a half dozen or so of them yesterday. I thought what we did was spectacular. Jeff's just so good. I mean, he's so good. You and Miz, that's a layup. I mean, you guys are not only have the chemistry and all of that stuff, but you're good buddies, and that obviously played through. The other thing I think that helped with that is not only is he who he is, but you two both have a longstanding love of professional wrestling. So it felt to me, that's what I mean. I mean that as the highest form of compliment. Like, it really felt like a 1990 and at the time WWF wrestling Saturday night's main event feel to it.
Yeah, which is fun.
It was great.
And I like to do. I do for AIW, Absolute Intense Wrestling. I get to do a little commentary on the side, which I love. And so it was basically when they approached me with this idea, I said, yeah, I will do commentary for this. That would be awesome. And then obviously we were able to get Mike involved, and I think he's hopefully joining us shortly. But it was a blast, and we did it. We knew who the characters were. We had like a little bit of kind of a one-sheeter, and they went through a lot to kind of get to who each character would be. And I don't think that's the last you're going to see of these people, by the way. Pay attention to the scores there. And then we just kind of like riffed it out, which was, to me, the most fun of the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. There's a natural chemistry between the two of you and a natural appreciation with both of you in the sport. So it came across as very authentic, and you can't get more authentic than you and Mike when you're doing that type of thing. And the schedule itself, and I know we'll get into some of the specifics. I mean, you're coming in hot, man.
Coming in hot. You want to be good, you got to beat good teams. And look, our division is chock full of them. 3 of our first 4 games in the division. We're the only team in the league that will not that is home for 5 of the first 6 weeks, and we have obviously a bye week in the middle of that. But we're the only team in the league that has just 1 road game through the first 6 weeks of the season. So you got to take advantage. We've been very good at home under Kevin Stefanski. We've been very good at home in the division under Kevin Stefanski. And so you want to be good. You got to go beat the Bengals. You want to be good, you got to go to Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers. You want to be good, you got to be at home, and you got to beat the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, it's to have 3 of the first 4 be division games is It's pretty real. You're going to find out right away. I mean, this Browns team, for us, and all of you out there listening, like we have such anticipation about, what this season can be, but also like we've talked about this before on the show, like almost nothing that is happening right now matters until you get to September. That's it. Like
Yep.
all of this stuff is just window dressing, and it's insignificant until you get to September. There's nothing that happens between now and September 10th that's going to change the way you think about this team, positively or negatively. And so you can't get a bigger welcome moment than Cincinnati, who's been right there with Kansas City as the class of the AFC the last couple of years and at the top of the sport. So there's also some crazy stuff with that opener in the terms of Burrow's struggles with the Browns and in terms of our struggles in home openers. So something's got to give there.
Yeah, well, we broke that curse last year in Carolina with the 58-yard field goal from Cade York.
Home.
And so, well, all right, home openers we've been terrible, but I'm just focusing on a win in the first week, Bo. Okay, let's not get. Why do we don't have
steps.
Why do we have to get more specific to make it worse? Let's just focus on we won in week 1.
The positives.
Yeah, this should be easier to win at home in week 1. But yeah, it's the truth. You want to be good. You want to be a team of consequence. You're going to have to do that, and you're going to have to do it quickly in your division because. If you can come out of there and go 2-1 in the division, you're in a great spot set up for the rest of the season. But if you don't, you're not in a great spot for the rest of the season. So I think it's as critical an opening quarter as we've ever had, especially with the bye week coming after that, those first 4 games.
Early bye week, man. Wow.
And I don't love an early bye week.
I don't like that either.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, boy.
Just
says it all.
I feel like you've made it in life when they just play a song and that means you. That like hearing that means The Miz has joined us now. What's up, dude?
That is right. I am on the golf course. I just teed off. I hit a 285-yard drive. I'm still I'd say about 170 out, so I think I might go maybe 8-iron onto the green. Just playing dominant golf right now. I am a dominant force. I would beat you. I would beat everybody. Just played TPC Sawgrass. But it's not about golf today. It's about football, Nathan. And it's about the schedule release and the fact that, not to brag or anything, but our schedule, pretty easy. Not going to lie about it.
You like it.
One of the easiest schedules out there, in my opinion, in my humble opinion.
Is your opinion of the schedule as accurate as your opinion of what you're doing on the golf course right now? Because you're making me nervous.
Nathan, if we were on the golf course right now, instead of sitting down, doing nothing, basically talking, using your chatterbox, it would be an absolute domination.
Yes, I would dominate you.
Well,
you're
I'm
right.
going to play today. I'm going to have. I asked them what the course record was, and they said 63, and I said no problem today.
You're on a heater, Mike. I wouldn't put anything past you. I mean, you dominate NBA All-Star Weekend with the shot heard around the world.
True.
Now you're doing schedule release videos reminding me of McMahon and Jesse the Body, and now you're going to go shoot 62. You're on a heater, bud.
Yeah.
It's just what I do. Every sport I dominate, just like the Browns are going to dominate this schedule. How about that schedule release, huh? Like, I know there's a lot of, people were talking about the Chargers. People were talking about all these other teams. I think Nathan and myself, as well as everyone that did the animation for the schedule release, deserves a round of applause because we absolutely, not only will we dominate the entire, season with this schedule, but that schedule release just starts it off right. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Set a tone.
It did set a tone. Have you heard from any of the people in your other career in that world? Did they enjoy what you did, what you put forth?
Yeah, I mean, people were commenting all over the place. I think I think people want to get involved, to be honest. When it comes to Cleveland, I think we all band together, no matter if we're in the ring, fighting each other, or if you're from Cleveland, like there's just a bond that you have with everyone. And this bond that we have is literally the Browns, the Guardians, as well as the Cavs. And it sucks that the Cavs, didn't go quite far in the playoffs as far as I thought they would. But to be honest, it's a learning curve. And now I think we know what we need. And I think next year we're going to be great. I think the Guardians are going to figure out what they're doing and, as always, be in the playoffs. And now it's the Browns' turn. Deshaun has a full season to literally show us kind of what he's got. And I think from everyone, that's been talking, they think he's a franchise player. And what we saw down in Houston, he's a franchise, and he's a hell of a quarterback. And I just hope he's able to lead this team to fruition. I mean, we all want playoffs. We want Super Bowl. I mean, when people talk about the Browns now, it's not talking like, oh, they're just saying that because they always say that. No, this time I think people actually believe, and I believe. And I think this is the season that we need to prove it.
I'm ready to run through a wall. Mike's got me all fired up right now. He's out there crushing drives, hitting bombs. And now he's talking big. And listen, if you want to be good, right, you go, for you, main event of WrestleMania, you against John Cena. You want to be good, you got to beat the best. And right now, the best in our division has been the Bengals the last 2 years. That's who we opened the season with. And I say, what better way to open the season, right? Make a statement at home and knock off the people that have been the top of the AFC North for the last 2 years. So are you like that Browns-Bengals game? Or are we going to be, let's get you here. Let's get you in the house for
come
that.
for that? It feels like that's one you come to.
When it comes to the Browns and the Bengals, we usually take it to the Bengals. Like, that's one team that we usually just take it to. So it's a great way to start off the season, to show exactly who we are and just put a stamp on it.
I agree.
And I just can't wait to watch it.
Miz, what was go back to your youth? What did as a native Clevelander, what did Browns opening day mean for you?
Oh my gosh, I think everyone was singing Bernie, Bernie, Super Bowl on the bus ride home. I remember being at Browns Day, and it was like, I remember kindergarten. You show up. There's half days, and I was the afternoon class. So my mom took me to Parmatown Mall, got me a Browns jersey, Kozar, of course. And I went to kindergarten that day with my Browns Kozar jersey on, just supporting the Browns. I think that's what we do. We band together, and there's nothing quite like it.
No, there's nothing.
There isn't. There's a sense of optimism. We love fall here more than anything.
Shoot my second shot while you guys talk. I'm going to shoot my second shot. I'm going to put my phone so you can actually hear the shot.
Oh yeah,
see if it's flushed.
I'm going to drain it. So here we go.
He might make it.
He's like Tiger now. Did you see that?
No,
clip
he's
going
not.
around
Right
this
now,
morning of Tiger Woods, where he
saying he doesn't take
divots.
It's erroneous. By the way, I think he's messing with him, but incredible. It's the whole thing. I love every bit of it.
I'm not going to take a divot.
Just gonna pick it.
Pick
it clean. And
let me ask you something. Did his opening monologue right there remind you of anybody that you and I happen to be huge fans of their whole deal right now?
It's pure.
It's so pure.
Did it drop?
Probably Rob. Call the police.
Sure. I mean, you hear that? Did you hear it?
The click.
Did you hear the shot?
Has to be. I'd say
pure.
What did you think?
if it's more than 5 feet away.
You're a pro, as you seem to think.
I'm guessing that's not on the green.
Sliced a little bit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say a slice. I would say it's faded. And
a little fade, a butter fade.
Buttercut fade.
Nice 58 chip.
Yeah, you got a chip still.
I'm gonna put a little 58 chip on there.
What hole are you on? Are you on number one?
Where is he?
Are you on your course?
In California or in
I'm
Florida?
on number one Valley at North Ranch right now.
Is that the hole? Is that what we played? Is it the one that goes by your house? We
may have lost him.
So,
no, he's back.
Who knows? He's out there.
So I'm on the cart path. So that means I have to take it behind the cart path. That's fine. That's okay. But by the way, I'm pin high.
Oh, pin high, of course.
On the cart path. You know what I noticed is a lot of golf courses put
right
cart
club.
paths right by the green, so it must have not been a bad shot. Okay.
Good shot.
It was a good shot.
I'm
The cart
pretty
path's
happy
nowhere
with
near a
it.
green. You can't drive your cart near a green. What are you in the next town over?
I'm telling you, I'll take a picture and I'll show it to you. It's literally right by the green.
All right.
You don't know golf, Nathan.
That's
you don't
right.
know football. You
The
don't
Grand
know golf.
Canyon geezer golfs like I do. The guy's a
Comments
stud.
are always right. Nathan, why are you always like this? Blah, you're such a cop, blah, 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 blah. They're all right. Everyone in Cleveland is right. You're wrong, Nathan. That's what I think.
I love the people of Cleveland. I think they're great. Miz, how many shots did it take you to hit it on the green at 17 at Sawgrass? I'm curious because the picture was beautiful, and it led me to believe that it only took one.
Yeah, well, I wish. So on 17 on Sawgrass, so they had they didn't have the right tees, so we went back where the real pros play.
Okay.
Used a pitching wedge at first. Thought it was about the wind was to my face like a lot, but I was like, I can get it there. Didn't get it there. Was way short, so I used a 9. Still couldn't get it there. Corn Ferry guys were behind me, so the Corn Ferry guys gave me like advice, and And this was after like 10 balls going in the drink. And the Corn Ferry guys came up to me and
I thought
was
you
like,
were
hey,
shooting
try
62.
this. And I swear to you, I used an 8-iron, hit it right on the green. It was amazing.
Awesome.
Like, it was like, I quit. I said, I'm not going to get it on the green. It's just not going to happen. And then the Corn Ferry guys came, and they were like, yo, try this. So I tried it and went around the green. It was awesome.
What did they tell you to try? What
was
was the advice? I mean, everybody, we had a lot of listeners who play
the advice was
golf.
I was
Sad for the people. They're going to miss
Sad.
the advice.
Hate to see it.
You hate to see it. They got the
advice
start
is-
of the advice, and then they miss the
The
advice.
advice starts and then you don't get it. You want.
No.
I think what he said is he's got an 8-iron. Is what he was.
I
hoping
think you had to
for.
put it back in the stance, maybe kind of.
so the 8-iron.
There it is.
Are you guys there now?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we've always been.
Yeah.
we've always been here.
Yeah, so the 8-iron, right? So I hit the 8-iron. They basically aligned me right. I was using my slice. That was the problem. And so they aligned me right, and then I hit it right on the green. It was perfect.
They squared you up, and it
Well-
was good. Yes.
I think perfect would also describe what you and Z did, and we're greatly appreciative of that and your time and continuing your efforts here with your 62. Sounds like you're going to have to maybe scramble here to make par, but still in play.
You can't say he won't chip it in,
Well, I'm
Bo.
going to hit this in. I'm going to
he's
hit it
putting
in
it
the
in.
hole right now, in the chip.
All right.
On my chip, I'm going to hit it right in the hole, and I'll film it for you.
Perfect.
Okay, I like that.
We'll
I like
look
that.
for it on your social media platforms, at Mike the Miz.
There it is. All right, buddy. Thank
All
you
right.
very
No,
much.
thank you, brother.
guys.
It was a blast.
Thank you to the Browns for inviting me to do the schedule release. It's always an absolute honor, and I can't wait for the season. Go Browns. Bye, guys.
Bye. See you, Miz.
The great
That's
Miz. And so people know there was no script or anything. We just kind of like riffed it out there, and Mike was hysterical.
his-
I feel like there are great outtakes.
I
if
was
there are
literally in this room.
Yeah, there's some
in
great-
our palatial place
Undisclosed
that we-
location.
undisclosed
Yeah.
location.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Jeff walks in and goes, "Hey, I forgot to tell you, we got to tape something with Z and the Miz." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. What? Oh, like, what do you need?" And they're like, "No. Like, we just literally have a camera. We're gonna kind of set up a Zoom, and they're just gonna freelance,
Yeah.
what we're doing." And I'm like, "Oh, all right." And at one point, I was pretty sure that everybody behind the scenes was louder than the guys actually recording. We were dying laughing. The outtakes are spectacular.
Yeah, there'd be some good outtakes out there for sure. But I think it all came
Isn't
together
he
very
here,
well.
Like next month? Isn't Raw here like in June?
I want to say June 19th. Yeah, I think June 19th.
Oh, Father's Day weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a week? Is that the Monday?
Yeah, I think we're off that day.
The Monday after? Yeah, I believe that's Raw.
There you go.
There you
Yes.
go. Okay. Oh, baby. All right. How about it? Well,
Yeah.
how about it? I should have had that. I should have gotten that in there for Vince McMahon. Hugh Stunner? Well, how about it?
It was good. The other among the others that stood out, obviously Tennessee. Like
Tennessee
it's
was
funny
amazing.
how the you think of something like that, and I don't know if it could have been explained as well as it was executed. Because if someone told me this is what we're going to do and it was going to land the plane, I don't know that it would have.
Yeah.
But I think the combination of like them with the like rudimentary logo and then the NFL music hitting,
Yeah.
something about the way they did it just
It's so
crushed.
good.
Because initially, as I started watching it, I didn't know that it would. I didn't think it was going to go, but then wow, did it? It was. I mean, I was dying.
Some
It
of the
was
guesses were unbelievable.
great. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
and I love that the Falcons changed their name to the Red Stallions this morning
Yes.
on Twitter.
How
That
could
was
you
awesome.
look at that and see a stallion?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
And I feel like the Baltimore Orioles people, like, good for them. That's at least the Baltimore sports franchise. That's
Yeah.
we're just
The
we were
emphaticness
yeah.
of the Colts being the Cowboys twice was pretty good.
I mean, the star. That's America's team.
Or we thought.
Yeah.
I would say that we are the world's team because when ours popped up, what were we called? Football team?
The football logo. That's just that's
Football logo.
Yeah.
Just a football logo. Okay. Well, world's team.
Yeah, because we are football. That's what we do here.
I thought the Bears one was really good. If you've seen the show The Bear on FX,
So I had not seen the show. I
had no
enjoyed
point of
it, but
reference.
I felt like I didn't know if it was enough to do an entire schedule.
yeah,
Like the first couple were funny.
it
and
was
I
really
like,
an
okay.
homage, almost shot by shot of that show.
Yeah.
So I think that's if you saw that show, it was instantly recognizable. The Cowboys using Taylor Sheridan and Jerry Jones. Taylor Sheridan, the creator of Yellowstone.
Yep.
That was quite good. I enjoyed that one, the comedic timing of that. And also they clearly shot it, and they were all in different locations when they shot it, but it worked out.
That one I
quite
haven't
well,
seen.
like his reactions.
I thought the Chargers was great again. I think their anime guy is really, really good. It's fun. It's unbelievable to me how this has changed so much. And somebody did say to me, the reason we like to get the schedule early so then we can plan what road trips we go to. So that makes perfectly good sense. But the fact that it has become this spectacle other than just here's the schedule is incredible to me. And what do you think of the Jags? What did you think of the Jaguars?
I didn't see theirs.
Oh God, it's like 10 minutes. It's when wasn't it Arian Foster who said the NFL was scripted?
Yes.
Oh yeah. No. I did see some of that. I lost pay. It was too long.
It was way too long, and like
some of it was
at
good.
The 9-minute and 50-second mark of the thing, they throw up the schedule. I was like, we waited all this? Like, you couldn't sprinkle it in as we were going through this?
Yeah.
I watched it for probably a couple of minutes, and then I bailed. Like, I kind of understood the premise, and then I bailed a little.
The premise was good, though.
The premise was fine. The more than fine. I think that the Broncos with Manning, like the fact that he goes back to the well to play comedy over and over again.
Because he's just so good at it.
He's so good. And they got Angela from The Office on that.
It's impossible to watch all of these, though.
No, I couldn't. Like, I mean, no, there was. That's the thing, and I'm sure for like our guys, for everybody, like the goal is to be the one that goes viral. But you have no control over that. Like you feel like, you want to be original every year. You want to try something different every year, and so it's hard to be the one if there's one that goes viral. Like you hadn't seen the Dallas one. I mean, it's Taylor Sheridan with Jerry Jones.
Wow.
That's
pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Didn't they have Post Malone do it one year for them?
Could be. I don't. Yeah.
By the way,
to your point though, you got too many teams.
USA Today put out and they ranked everybody's schedule release.
Oh God.
Okay.
Were we okay? I just want to be at least considered okay.
We were more than okay. However, we finished at number 7.
Solid.
Very solid.
Quartile.
Take it.
Cartoon wrestling means shenanigans, and The Miz and Nathan Segura
with an S?
Segura delivered fantastic digs on commentary.
The great Z.
Fantastic. Well done, USA Today.
Ronnie Dangerfield.
Oh my gosh. By the way,
somehow the Squealers were in front of us.
I didn't see theirs.
I didn't even see what they did.
I didn't see it. The Lions were in front of us, and I never understood. I didn't like theirs. The Falcons, Titans, and Chargers were in front of us.
Chargers is a cheat code, though, with that anime stuff. I mean, that's...
I felt like just running it back again. Everybody's like, oh, look how cool. And I'm like, you ran it back, though.
Yeah.
I mean...
It wasn't an original thought. By the way, just as an update for you on The Miz, not only was he on with us in the process of shooting a 62, he's also quote tweeting his a Pictionary show he's on. So he's like quadruple tasking right now.
The guy, he's prolific. What can you say?
He really is. Yeah, he definitely is. So it was fun. Ours was fun. There was a lot of fun ones around the league. You're right. It's become a big deal around the league, and especially for those in-house media teams as those things go viral. So that's part of it. Then I think for the average fan who's not on Twitter or not seeing the social. You want to play the schedule game is what you want to do. You want to see where your wins and losses are. You want to see where your road games are. You want to see, what's a tough stretch. We started last year when, we were trying to just figure out what the suspension would be on Deshaun and saying, like, well, what do we got to be through these first 4? What do you got to be through these first 6? What's the number? And when you didn't achieve those, then it became kind of a lost season. And I think that's the thing when you look at this schedule this year, and we'll do that coming up next. When you look at this schedule and you say, this is a jumping face first into the water situation.
Yeah.
And it's a tough stretch for sure to start. But I guess we can finish with the wrestling motif. To be the man, you got to beat the man. And Cincinnati's comes first, and they've owned the division. So we'll get into that. We'll get into the schedule. We'll go over it game by game. Get a feel for where we sit from a record standpoint of what we think it could be.
Sure.
We'll get into all of that. Lots of fun on the program today. We're off and running. Cleveland Browns Daily 850 ESPN Cleveland.
We're here for all
The Cleveland Browns 2000
You're up.
schedule is here. Get your single game tickets now for all the great matchups at Cleveland Browns Stadium. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/tickets to purchase today. As you look at this thing, as we kind of go through this what's that word, tranche? I used to love when we had the tranche that we could look
break
at.
it up into some tranches.
Some tranches.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. So the first four, I mean, it starts there, right? It starts with 3 out of your first 4 division games. 3 out of your first 4 are at home.
Yep.
It's a full day right out of the gates. Bengals to start at Pittsburgh for Monday Night Football, then Tennessee here week 3, and then Baltimore here in week 4 before the bye week. See, what do you make of that 4?
Look, like I said, you want to be a good team. You want to be a relevant team. You want to be a playoff team. You want to be somebody of importance inside of the NFC North, in the AFC North, I'm sorry. Then you need to win 2 of those 3 division games. I think it's that simple. You win 2 of those 3 division games and you beat the Titans, you're 3-1. You win 2 of those division games, you lose the Titans, you're 2-2, but you're still in the mix because you went 2-1 in the division. I just think it's critical that you go 2-1 in the division there. I think it is massive. I think you want to split the 2 home games, and I think you got to go into Pittsburgh and you got to beat the Steelers. And I feel like we should be able to do that. We just have to go ahead and do that. And so for me, this is what you want, right? You want to come out and you want to start hot. This is not last year's start where you had, the Jets and the Panthers and the Falcons in 3 or 4 first games. Now, we didn't capitalize on that. We ended up 2-2 after those 4 because of what happened against the Jets. But this is an opportunity to get right into it and to get it done. And if you can't, that's a problem. This roster, I think, is too good not to be a team of consequence. And so look, the AFC is loaded. There aren't going to be a ton of these little cupcake games. So you've got to go out there and you've got to be able to take care of your business. And if, Joe Burrow has not won a game at First Energy, now Cleveland Browns Stadium. So hold your home field. You get the Ravens and you get the Bengals at home in the first quarter of the season. The Bengals are going to have a lot of new pieces on the back end of their defense that I think that you can challenge. I mean, the Bengals, I'm sorry, the Ravens themselves putting in a new offense. What does that look like? And we'll at least have some tape on that. But I think we have an opportunity. And, the Bengals aren't really going to have, I think, offensively, not as much tape on what we're going to do. I think defensively, there are going to be plenty of similarities, and we should do a lot of the things we've done against the Bengals. We've played the Bengals well. Our defense has played the Bengals very, very well. So keep that going. But if you want to be good, you got to take care of business. You come out of there 3-1, I think you're in a great spot. I really do. I think that you're well on the way.
The number right now from an over-under win total is 9 is the one that I'm seeing consistently.
Yep.
To me, if you're going to go over that, then you have to go 3-1 in that stretch. It just feels – you feel like you split your conference games or your divisional games, and then there are some gimmies that have to be gimmies.
They've
Tennessee has to be a gimme. Arizona's got to be a gimme. The Rams, the Colts, those have got to be the Houston. You play Texans. Now they're not going to act. They're not going to certainly be tanking or anything like that. They probably won't do that at a variable anyway. But they're not going to be acting like that week 3. So you're going to get their best shot week 3. I wish we got them a little bit later. But the Colts, Arizona, Houston, all of those have to be dubs. There's no option because the division is as brutal as it is. So you have the bye week in week 5. Your next 4: San Francisco here, at Indy, at Seattle, and then Arizona here on November 5th.
Yeah. You're right. There are definitely some winnable games in there. I was just kind of looking through real quickly. So for Stefanski in his first year, we beat the Bengals and the Steelers at home. We lost to the Ravens at home, just as in the division. So that's 2-1. In 2020,
I think he's 6-2.
I think you're right. Well, there would have to be 9
I think
games,
he's 6-2
right?
at home in the division.
The second year, you beat
or 9.
You lose to the Steelers at home. You beat the Ravens at home. You beat the Bengals at home. So now we're 4-2. There's got to be 9. So I think maybe are we 6-3? And then last year you beat the Bengals at home. Last year you went 3-0. So 7-2 at home in the division. Last year you beat the Steelers at home on Thursday night, 29-17. You beat the Bengals 32-13 on Monday night, and you beat the Ravens 13-3. So 7-2 at home in the division. you got to keep you hold that, and I feel like you're in a good spot. You're in a good spot here. You're in a good spot. But you're right. There are definitely games on this schedule that feel good. But if we break it up into tranches, so take that first quarter.
So if you go 3-1 in the first one, and you go like in the next one, you're going to be favored probably in 2, for sure 2, and probably underdog in 2, depending on what San Francisco looks like early.
You'll be favored over
depending on what you are.
Indy.
You're not
going to
be favored in Seattle. Yeah,
you might be favored in Seattle depending on how the season goes. And I think we'll be favored over the Niners at home, or it'll be a pick 'em.
Depends on how they look and how we look.
Hold on. Gibbe just gave
tight.
me a look through the thing. We don't even if Sam Darnold's their quarterback, or even Brock Purdy, or who knows? We're 2.5-point underdogs to the Bengals in Week 1. So I mean, if we're 3-1 coming off of our bye week to face the Niners, it's very likely to me that we would be favored. I don't think that's a big spread either way, but we could be favored there. You have to just 3-1 or 2-2. To me, through your 8 games,
here's
which
the reality.
Ends with Arizona. You've
got to be
5-3. Yes, exactly.
That's it.
Yep.
It's 5-3 through 8. However you get there, however you skin that cat, that's the minimum requirement. Because the next one, it's at Baltimore. That'll be tough. Pittsburgh at home should be a win. At Denver, could go any which way but loose. I have no idea what Denver could be.
That's a tough one.
They certainly have the talent to be a lot better.
But even let's say you go 1-2 there. Let's say worst case scenario, you go 1-2.
Take it all the way to the 4th.
You're at 6-5. Then you
2-2.
win that one, 7-5.
So you're 7-5 at that point.
Jags, Bears, Texans. You got to win 2 of those. So now you're at 9-6, and then you got to find a win, with the Jets or the Bengals. But that's assuming that we lose games that we want. I feel like our bottom scenario is 8-9, and I feel like our top scenario is 12-5. Like the thing that we haven't done really a lot of in recent years is win games where people were like, "Oh yeah, that's a loss." Those just end up being losses. And what we've done, and the reason we haven't been as successful as we'd like, is games that we have said, "Oh, that's automatic." Like the Bears at home, we end up losing that game somehow.
Right. Yeah.
But we can beat. There isn't a single.
That happened like that's the Patriots game last year with Bailey Zappi.
Like we could beat. We could go from week 13 to week 16. Those 4, we could go 4-0. Rams, Jags, Bears, Texans.
For sure.
Like
that's the easiest stretch.
Yes.
That 4-game stretch is the easiest stretch on the schedule.
Yes. And who knows what Denver is at that point? But if you win the game, let's call it week 11, you beat the Steelers at home. You have a chance, I think, to win, basically 5 out of 6 or 6 in a row. But that's where we're going to have to be. We've got to survive the first 8, and then we've got to make our move leading up to the final 2, knowing that those are probably going to be tough. The Jets here on a Thursday night, and then at Cincinnati.
Brutal. Thursday night, December 28th?
It is brutal. The one thing that I would say that makes it good, the only thing that's helpful about that is it's a quick turnaround for everybody. And then you have that mini bye going into what could be a game for the AFC North. What going into what could be a playoff game. We could have the benefit of coming, 10 days to get ready for that Bengals game.
Yeah.
You have to handle your business though leading up and from Thanksgiving, the week before Thanksgiving, the Steelers game through Christmas, you have got to handle your business. And if you handle your business in that stretch, we will be a team of consequence. Period.
That's 6 games. That's the Steelers here. It's at Denver, at the Rams, Jaguars here, Bears here, at Texans.
Yep.
That 6-game stretch has got, to me, it's got to be like a 5-1.
5-1. Yeah.
Yeah. In that swing. And I think that this is a difficult schedule, obviously. You get no favors by the fact that the other 4th place team in the AFC East that you're matched up with is the Jets, and they added Aaron Rodgers. Like you'd much rather play Baltimore, I'm sorry, not Baltimore, New England.
Well, as long as they don't do what they did to us last year.
Still, yeah,
yes,
I understand, but you get the point. Like
yes,
you'd much rather play that operation than an Aaron Rodgers Jets operation.
Yes.
So that you get a little bit of bad luck there, but there are a bunch of just what should be checkbox win games. I don't know how many teams in the league. Like when you think about you're playing the Colts and the Texans and the Cardinals. Like they're in the bottom 4 teams in the league. All 3 of those teams.
Yes.
So those all three should be guaranteed wins.
Yes.
Now, historically, they haven't been. I'm not convinced the Bears are going to be world beaters. I think they'll be dangerous, but I still
Sure.
think they're early on in their gestation. Who knows what the Rams are going to be by week 13?
Right. Right.
I mean, those guys might not even be there.
I think, yes, you got to handle your business in this stretch.
This is a 10-7 to me. Like, that to me feels like minimum.
I like that. And look, you want to be a real team, you've got to be able to beat the Jags at home. The Jags are going to be good, but you've got to be able to beat them. You've got to be able to beat the Ravens. You've got to be able to beat the Bengals. You've got to be able to beat the Steelers. You know, I'd love to go out there and sweep the Steelers this year. That would be phenomenal. But the way that it's set up is that we've got to come out in our division and make a statement early. You want to be that kind of a team, you want to be talked about that way, you've got to go do it. And you get every opportunity, the way the schedule is laid out, to do that. To finish in the opening quarter, the opening tranche of your schedule prior to the bye week, you have an opportunity to say, we've held home court against both the Bengals and the Ravens. And if you can go on the road and beat the Steelers, which absolutely we can, we've done it before in the playoffs, in the most important environment. You know, last year we didn't get it done at the end of the season last year. It would have been great. But I think we're going to be a completely different football team. You have a chance to be 4-0. But it starts with week 1. I think that is a huge tone setter of the game. And you know, you think about, 2020, you go on that nice run. You think about 2021, you started that season in Kansas City, I want to say, was week 1 of 2021. Mm-hmm. We played them tough. It looked like we had it all going for us. It doesn't work out. And then, it's not enough to be close and to look good, I don't think, because that doesn't carry anything. This is about wins and losses. And so you've got to come out and you've got to win. And I think there is – the schedule makers could have given us a couple of cupcakes out of the first 4. They said no. You get one relatively easy game, which is Tennessee, which they're going to play hard, and they're going to make you work, and they're going to be well coached, and we'll see if at that point, maybe they just decide to say, you know what, we're shipping Tannehill off somewhere, we're going with Levis. Or if it's not, it's going to be Tannehill, and it's going to be Derrick Henry, and it's going to be a good defense, and it's going to be a full day's work against a quality team that came in here to start the 2019 season when we were, we'll take care of the Titans, and beat us.
Yeah. Yeah, if this makes sense, I think I could see on the worst case 9-8, and at the very but also I think it's a very thin margin in terms of that. I think the floor is relatively high in that I think the floor is a winning record, and I think that the ceiling is also relatively low juxtaposed to that floor. So what I mean by that is I think 11-6 feels like the top of it. The top of the heap.
If we get
maybe
hot,
12-5, but man, F for anybody. But I mean, the reality is
we're
you are playing. Our division is a full blanking day, and the fact that the cross schedule stuff with the divisions, like Denver, we anticipate being much improved. The Jets, you anticipate being much improved. You don't get any favors there with the last place schedule or the 4th place in the division schedule.
No, that's why it would have been important to
that's why it's tough
to win at the end of the year and get that 3rd place, because 3rd place, instead of the Jets and the Broncos, you get the Raiders and the Patriots.
Yeah, that's Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Or is that Baltimore?
It's Pittsburgh or Baltimore. I don't know. I didn't look at their schedules. It's one of those two.
Yeah.
It's not the Bengals. I know that.
No, it's definitely not that. I think I think it's Pittsburgh.
It's Pittsburgh because the Ravens made the playoffs, right?
Yeah, so it's
and
Pittsburgh.
Played the Bengals in the first round of the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken,
and
almost won.
So Pittsburgh, I would think that Pittsburgh, who I think is the worst team talent-wise in the division, might play the easiest schedule in the division.
Yeah, because of their matchups. I don't know who they get when we get the when we got the Bears. That was probably a tougher one for them. They got the
Packers, probably, right?
Or the Lions. Packers or the Lions, yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'm pulling up Pittsburgh's right now. So Pittsburgh's, just for comparison's sake, Pittsburgh goes San Francisco at home, us at home, at Vegas, at Houston, Baltimore, at Ramette, Jacksonville, Tennessee, Green Bay, at us, at Cincinnati, Arizona at home, New England at home. So there's the swap. They got Green Bay, New England, and
Green Bay, New England.
Who am I missing?
and the
Vegas.
Raiders. Right.
Green Bay, New England, Vegas. We got Bears, Broncos, Jets.
Jets is obviously the toughest of the 6.
Sure.
But it feels fair. I mean, I think that you'd rather play the Bears than the Packers, even with no Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I would agree. A couple other things I want to get to on this in terms of the big picture, some of the things that happened around the league from a scheduling standpoint, the primetime situation. We'll get into that coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Hey there, Browns fan.
You're up.
2023 Browns season. Some of the best seats in Cleveland Browns Stadium. We'll visit LECO. See, how would you do it? It stands for Lake Erie College of Osteopathic, but how are you going to?
LACOM.
LACOM?
LACOM.
LACOM.edu? LACOM?
Yep, LACOM.
LACOM. All right, LACOM.edu/Browns for your chance to win 2 field seats for the 2023 season, courtesy of Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine. Sweepstakes ends on August 30th. So lacom.edu/Browns. I want to go over some numbers with you. How about this? The Kansas City Chiefs have one game at 1 o'clock.
Yep.
That's it. That's the list.
Yep.
Everything else is either America's Game of the Week, a West Coast game, or prime time. They had 6 prime timers. They are tied with Buffalo, Dallas, and the Chargers as a 6 primetime team. I think the Chargers part of this is so fascinating from the standpoint of because they were this last year. It feels like the people running networks are just going to make damn sure that a team from L.A. gets a lot of primetime windows. Yeah. Because there isn't a fan base for the Chargers. They got great uniforms and an awesome young quarterback, but there's no fan base. It's not a ratings driver.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they've done a good job on TV. I don't know. I like the Chargers. You know me. I'm fired up.
I know you do. No, I know. But
I have a whole
how do they have more primetime games than San Francisco?
Well, there's only 4 teams, so did you see the graphic where it gives like the number and then how many teams have that game?
Yeah, I have it pulled up right here.
Oh, yeah,
so there's 4 teams that have 6.
Yeah, and they're
Kansas
one
City,
of them.
the Chargers, Buffalo, and Dallas.
Yeah.
I don't think the Chargers deserve to be in that group based on what they have been on the field and based on the fan base.
Okay.
There isn't. There isn't a fan base, and they're not delivering on the field.
They're fun to watch.
They're not. I understand that, but
all right.
Again, so is Cincinnati.
I mean,
so
the Eagles
the
Eagles should be up at 6.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Here's the group with 5: Giants and Jets. Okay, big markets. I get it. Green Bay, Minnesota.
I don't get
huge fan bases,
but still, Green Bay.
At least they have fan bases, though.
And Vegas.
And Vegas has a huge fan base. And then Philly and San Francisco. But I agree. I don't think that Vegas should be in that group. I don't think Minnesota should be in that group.
No, nor should Green Bay.
I just think that's just time tested, right?
The Bengals should be in the 5 group.
Yeah, Baltimore.
Baltimore you can put in the 5 group, yeah.
So here's the 4 group is Detroit, Chicago, Denver, Baltimore, Cincinnati, New England, and Pittsburgh.
Yep.
So it's still a big bet on the Bengals or on the Patriots brand.
Yep.
Is what they're betting on there because they are no fun to watch whatsoever. Teams with 3 include New Orleans, Seattle, Jacksonville, and Miami.
Jacksonville and Miami should have more. The Seahawks, I bet by the end of the year, people say they should have had more. I don't understand the Saints being there.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting down to low numbers, though, and so that gets us to 2. The teams with 2 are Tampa Bay, Tennessee, Carolina, Just Ram It, and us.
When we
Just
don't belong
2
there, and we know why we are there. We don't belong there.
No, not at all, because not only do you rate,
yes,
we do.
We do.
So you rate. There's a huge following.
Yep.
You're a good team. You've been a good team, competitive team in the last few years.
Yep.
You have one of the funnest quarterbacks when he's at his best that you can watch in the league. And again, you're right. You know why you're there, but it's. I did not think we would only have 2. I thought it would be more than that. And,
same.
I'm surprised that we're lumped in with the likes of the Buccaneers, the Titans, Carolina, and the Rams. I am a little bit surprised with that. I think the Rams could get more. The Rams are a real wild card thing. I don't know what I think their choices they make this summer will be fascinating. Washington just had 1, and then Houston, Atlanta, Arizona, and Indy have none.
How about this from Ari Murov, guy that retweets a lot of NFL news?
Right.
Mike North, who kind of heads
Chicago,
the radio and TV deals, and I meet with him more so than maybe most people in the football season. He might be.
I thought you were talking about like Mike North, the Chicago radio.
No.
Mike
North is in the league office with the league office, and he is one of the head guys on the schedule committee.
Okay.
Mike North said today that the Bengals volunteered to play on Black Friday every year and essentially make it a tradition like Dallas and Detroit have on Thanksgiving.
Denied.
The league considered it strongly, and they considered putting Steelers-Bengals on, but ultimately chose Jets-Dolphins. Amazon mentioned to the league that New York is the number 1 retail market in America, so having the first Black Friday game in New York would be a cool concept. Boy,
think that's
Amazon's
overthinking it.
pushing. They're pushing for everything.
But couldn't they? Where do the Bengals play the Jets? Do they play the Jets in New York?
They don't.
They have the Jets at home?
No, they don't play the Jets.
Oh, right. They don't play the Jets.
The Bengals.
We picked up the Jets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, my bad. We don't play the AFC East. How about just when you were going through the list, like to me, it's funny because we've been making so many jokes about the Falcons not being serious. The NFL doesn't think they're serious. They don't want that brand of football in prime time. This is 2023.
No.
Zero.
No.
And they have a chance to win their division, honestly.
Sure.
Not to do anything beyond that, but hey.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, to me, everything makes sense except where we are and where the Chargers are. Everything else, I mean, I guess there's a couple in the 5 that they're banking on a Raiders brand, a Vikings brand, and a Packers brand. Those teams all have pretty big followings. The Raiders have a big following, so do the Packers. But we should have been more in the 4 range.
Yes.
I think Cincinnati should have been moved up. Cincinnati should have been moved up for sure.
Of course,
to the 5 range.
We all know why we have 2 games. The league, we all know why. So we're going to have to look at quarterback rankings lists. Look at everything. It's like we don't exist.
It's constant.
So we need to. That's what I said. You want to be serious. You want to be taken seriously. You don't want to be thrown into thrown asunder, thrown aside. You need to go out and beat these teams. And we have every opportunity to do that. You have a chance on Monday Night Football to go into Pittsburgh week 2, hopefully after coming off of beating the Bengals, and make a real statement. And, you can't ignore us. We beat the Bengals and we beat the Steelers week 2 on Monday Night Football. We cannot be ignored anymore.
There's a lot
it's on
made
us.
around here. There's a lot made around here about Cleveland against the world, Ohio against the world, and I think a lot of it's largely silly, to be honest.
Yes.
But I really think that we are on an island here this season. Like, Browns fans are on an island. You're not going to get, and to your point, everybody knows why. Your point is well made and accurate when it comes to quarterback rankings, when it comes to team rankings. Nobody wants to talk about us. Nobody wants to show us. That's proved by what happened here from a network. Because the Browns rate. Like, that's a fact.
Yes, fact.
The Browns rate the way that the Packers rate, similarly to the Steelers, the Raiders. They are just below Dallas in terms of, rating interest. Very similar to Buffalo and some of the other ones that have big fan bases all over the country. So they make this decision to not put us in prime time. And I think I think this organization has an opportunity to, for better or worse, really go in with a legitimate chip on the shoulder in terms of the way it's perceived. And I think you can use it to your advantage.
Absolutely. And there's no talking. That's the thing. This is the hardest. And look, this will be my 11th season with this team. In some ways, this is the hardest offseason. Last year was for other reasons, but I'm talking pure football standpoint, is because we can talk about it.
I agree.
And that's great. This season is all about the doing, period.
Yeah.
We have the talent. We've got the quarterback. We've got the coaching staff in place. We've got to go do it. And the league saying, prove it right out of the gate. Yep. That's what the league has said.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep. Yeah, that's where you're at. So just deal with it and be a serious football team, and that's the way it goes. There's a new way to cheer on your Cleveland Browns and help your favorite four-legged companion. Barking Backers, presented by Milkbone, the Browns' newest club for pet parents worldwide. Sign up today at barkingbackers.com. Barking Backers, the fan club for dogs. We've got some comings and goings. It's day 1 of rookie minicamp. We'll go over some of those signings. You'll hear from Ronnie Hickman. You'll hear from Cedric Tillman, his press conference as well. Here in the final hour, we'll go around the league as well. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. And when you're on the injured list,
You're up.
back in the game, call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk and Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. In addition to that, Browns fans, we're down to our top 5 designs for the new dog logo. Vote early. Let your voice be heard. Be sure to rank your favorite logo as the top 2 vote getters will advance to the final round. Vote once per day. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/dog logo to cast your vote on that. We do have rookie minicamp. It is underway. I saw Emmett quote tweeting a image of Bryce Young taking his first snaps in Carolina, and he said it looks like a freshman taking reps behind the varsity offensive line. You don't realize like how slight he is until you see him up against 6'6", 300-pounders, and you realize he's 5'10", 175 or whatever he is. So it is that day around the league today. Rookie minicamp for us. The way that this will go, it's day 1 of rookie minicamp at the CCMC. Rookies select second-year guys, take the field right now. They're doing it right now. We have signed Siaki Ika, Isaiah McGuire, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Cam Mitchell, Luke Whippler. The 5 selections are the first of the club's 7 draft picks to sign. We've also signed 9 undrafted free agents. So that, and you'll hear from one of those guys, Ronnie Hickman, the former Buckeye safety, here in about 10 minutes or so. This is an exciting time, and for some of these guys, I talk about this with Ronnie in terms of with special teams and finding a way to get on the roster and make that first impression. It's critical.
It is critical. This is a roster that is pretty complete, and we've talked so much about this rookie class and just the draft picks alone. You know, Luke Whippler fighting for a backup spot and maybe to be the center of the future. You look at DeJuan Jones is fighting. I think he will make the roster, but he certainly has to prove that and show with his commitment and everything that they want to see out of him. But he's trying to position himself to be a tackle of the future and perhaps of the present if there is an injury. Siaki Ika, we've talked about, probably has the best chance of contributing significantly right away, and then you can't say that Cedric Tillman wouldn't either. You go further down the draft.
Ika needs to, don't you think?
He needs to. He's the one that needs to. Tillman becoming a star would be a wonderful luxury and a great thing for the Browns, obviously. But Ika's the guy that I think you're counting on out of this rookie class to play the most of anybody. Dorian Thompson-Robinson is here to compete to try to be the third quarterback this year and the long-term backup behind Deshaun Watson. The corner out of Northwestern is looking to be the 6th corner, right, or the 5th corner on this team and make the team for his special teams prowess and his ability to play in the slot and outside, but as a backup. So, and then you've got undrafted free agents, and the Browns announcing, that they had signed some, and I think the name that a lot of us are drawn to, Ronnie Hickman, who you're going to talk with in just a few moments, out of Ohio State. His teammate Tanner McAllister, also out of Ohio State. And then I think you're looking at perhaps Hassan Hall, the running back out of Georgia Tech. Those were the 2 positions we talked about the most in the draft that weren't addressed, safety, running back. And so you'd say if an undrafted could make it, that's where it's going to be. But it's still a long way to go. In the case of Hickman now, you've got to beat out a DeAnthony Bell, who was on this roster last year and who made it, or McAllister. And then at the running back position for Hassan Hall, you're trying to say you don't need to bring in a veteran, that Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford, and I can handle this. I can give you what, a Dontrell Hilliard gave you. I can give you what Dearness Johnson was giving you. And the question will be, can they prove that they can do that? But I think these are critical times. And then Isaiah McGuire is obviously competing to get into that rotation and to play in some of those sub-package situations. So Ika's the one that you're expecting the most out of in 2023, but for all these guys, you're fighting to cement yourself in a rotation somehow this year, but also, to be a building block when we have to make more difficult roster decisions due to financial constraints of, paying a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, and I mean, in talking with Hickman, like the road for a guy like that, and it was something that, he did this at Ohio State. They put a lot of their best players play special teams, so he played a lot of special teams at Ohio State, and that's the roadmap, man. Is to find that, to be elite at that, get to know Bubba Ventrone, figure out what he wants, and then go and try to make a little bit of an impact there. I'm excited to see, obviously, the skill guys is what's going to pop in this type of thing, just to see how they move. I love that you brought up Hassan Hall, the running back out of Georgia Tech. What's his juice look like? What's his movement look like? Tillman is a fascinating one. And then the fact that we did draft a quarterback gives you a little bit of juice too, because
Yeah.
it's a guy who's well known, who was a college star at
Yes.
UCLA, beat LSU in a game a couple of years ago out in the Rose Bowl, and was at one point kind of like a Heisman dark horse guy. So he's one of those guys that it's going to be fun to watch. And it's been a while since we've drafted a quarterback with the intent of developing him over a long period. Usually when we draft a quarterback around here in the last 20 years, it's been to be the franchise quarterback. That's not the case here. We have that already. You're going to draft somebody who can eventually be on your roster, hopefully as the backup, or becomes an asset that you can then use to get other things in return. So there's a big upside to Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Huge. And the fact of the matter is we're going to need a backup quarterback on a rookie contract for the next 3 years. So you want it to be DTR. That's why you drafted him. I got a chance to interview him before the show today for about 10 minutes and got to spend even a little bit more time with him than that. Awesome kid. Awesome.
Yeah,
Great
impressive.
presence. Very impressive leader. I didn't realize he was so close with Dwayne Haskins. I don't know if you knew that, but
No, I did not know that.
really close with Dwayne Haskins. So he has on his forearm, he designed every tattoo on his body. He designed himself. He's very into art. And he has a Dwayne Haskins tattoo on his right forearm that's like thing of Dwayne Haskins and a picture of him and Dwayne Haskins together, and then a DM somebody sent him about Dwayne Haskins all in this one kind of on his right forearm. And I asked him about that.
Is he
And so he said they met out in L.A. Haskins would train out in L.A. at the same place that DTR was training in his off seasons, and they met. And Haskins introduced him to Deshaun Watson. So DTR and Deshaun Watson actually have a relationship going back a few years from training together and being together a lot of off seasons. So he was obviously thrilled to come here, but. Yeah, just a pretty incredible young man, and I found you could just tell how he could command a room. But I think, if he can do what he did at UCLA, and we talked about the fact that, in his last year, he just played football. His extra year, he had graduated and everything. So he kind of was a pro last year in a sense, and he said it obviously helped, career high completion percentage. It was sought it better, but he's somebody that's going to be fun, and I keep joking. I'm excited to see him play. I think when he was a highlight film, I think at UCLA, got better at throwing the football. But, you think about a year where you've got 4 preseason games now, which is not the norm. We're going to get to see these guys a lot. And I think that's going to be what's
awesome. It makes the Hall of Fame game awesome.
Yes, there are going to be some fun guys to watch. And, he and Cedric Tillman – they played together in high school. Now, that was the last time they played together, but they've thrown and run routes. And I said, in the 2 weeks between you guys getting drafted and coming here, he's like, oh, yeah, we basically were running routes and throwing the ball to each other, all the time. He said, I wanted to be on the same page with him. He wanted to be on the same page as me. So I expect them to actually come out here and have a chemistry at a rookie minicamp that should be unique. I mean, how often do you have a quarterback and his high school number 1 receiver and best friend
Crazy
that they get to come do this together now? It's such a cool story.
Did you ask, was that at all part of how aware of that were they?
The Browns were very aware of it. It just worked out circumstantially.
Just dumb luck.
Yes, that they liked both. It had
Really
nothing
cool.
to do with why the picks were made, in other words.
No, but it's a hell of a
they
bonus.
knew about it. Well, yeah, and then we drafted Cam Mitchell, who was great friends with Greg Newsome.
Sure.
So, yeah, there were a lot of little kind of connections there.
What about DTR from a size standpoint? You were in person talking to him, or were you okay?
Yeah, my guess, and I don't know what he's listed at, but my guess 6'1", 6'2", probably 215-ish.
Okay, so good size.
Yeah, I'm a little taller than he is, muscular, and just looks like an athlete. I mean, he's an athletic build.
He's a dude.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing around the league, and we'll go out and watch a little bit of camp, and we'll kind of give you an idea of what we're seeing out there as they've been going at it for about 15 minutes now. Tom Brady in deep discussions becoming a limited partner with the Vegas Raiders. It's his second foray into the partnership with Raiders owner Mark Davis in less than 2 months. Wasn't it the WNBA? Is that what he got into in Vegas?
I think so.
Yeah. I think he's trying to find himself. He's just trying to find a way something that gets him fired up, because he still has the Fox thing, but he's not doing it now. And I read this morning that Fox was aware that he was doing this, but I don't know. I don't know if he ever works for Fox.
I don't know.
I'd be curious to see.
It doesn't feel like that does anything for him.
Doesn't. No, I would agree. It feels like he's looking for something else that would maybe ignite it a little bit. So, potentially a limited partner with the Raiders. I'm always surprised that, and he was in the release video for the Patriots too, wasn't he?
I didn't watch their schedule release video.
Yeah, they did one where it was like all old Patriots were like had a house together.
Oh, that's cool.
And it started with like Andre Tippett and Troy Brown was in it, and like every time you flip channels, it was a Patriot like historic game was on every channel. So that was their operation, and Brady showed up in that. So
I like it.
That's something there. All right, coming up next, we will go one-on-one with Browns and former Buckeye safety Ronnie Hickman. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. This as well, former Buckeye safety like yourself who went undrafted and found the best spot for him. What was it about this spot for you that led you to become a Cleveland Brown?
I think there's a lot of factors that play into it, but I just think the situation as far as the guys in the room and having a great interview with the safety coach that's here now, meeting him at the combine, and kind of having a small relationship being built there prior to even coming here. And you just know if you're a good person or if there's good people in the organization, that word is going to spread. And that's what I've been hearing from, coaches that I've had or players that have been here. So I just felt like ultimately it was the right decision for me.
And there's opportunity here too, right? I mean, you look at the opportunity at safety. Some really good young players, some nice veterans added this week as well to this roster. A chance for you to learn, but also an opportunity for you to maybe show yourself a little bit. You'll have your first chance with this rookie minicamp this week.
100%, 100%.
For Browns Nation, there aren't many of them who haven't seen Buckeye games, but for those who haven't, what type of player are the Browns getting?
A guy who's willing to do it all. I've played several positions on the back end. I played special teams every year that I've started at Ohio State. Just a selfless guy who's willing to do whatever for the team. That's how I was raised. That's how I was taught to play the game, and it's how I'll continue to play the game.
And and the special teams part's going to be a big part of it, as you know. What is it about that you thrived at that in Columbus? What is it about that you like? Why is it someplace you find yourself be so comfortable?
I honestly think it's a mindset thing. If you looked at all the guys on the teams, athletically, every guy can do it. Physically, they can do it. It's really just a mindset and kind of, letting your ego go or whatever that may be and just saying, if the team needs this, I'm going to be the guy to do it.
You had to make a transition in defensive style last year in Columbus as you go to a Jim Knowles defense. That's something that's a pretty common thing that happens in the league in terms of having to learn a bunch of new styles. What did you learn in that process that you think, is there something that maybe you could apply to learning this defense, this Jim Schwartz defense here in Cleveland?
I think overall with my time at Ohio State, having a new coordinator each year, in the moment, it's kind of a thing that you're like, damn, I wish my coach is staying or you're coming back to the same system. But, now I look at it kind of as an advantage. Being able to learn a whole new defense each year, year in and year out, new terminology, new lingo, obviously coaches and stuff like that. So when it comes to playbook or learning new information, I feel like I'm a guy that can do that at any level.
Talking to former Buckeye and current Cleveland Browns safety Ronnie Hickman here on Cleveland Browns Daily 850 ESPN Cleveland. That Buckeye part of it, it is something that is so unique to that institution in that they really prepare you for the league. And I don't even mean necessarily, Mickey Marotti and the weight training and the nutrition and all of that, the level of competition, the competitiveness of the practices, but also the way that Ohio State is covered. I mean, that is covered like a professional team. Do you feel like that Ohio State experience prepared you for the league as good as it could have?
Well, it's my first day, so we'll see. But definitely so far though, just from feedback from the guys who have already been here, and me sharing the locker room with them for 3 or 2 years, and then getting feedback, and they've always said that you'll be prepared, and it kind of feels like that so far. I don't want to jump ahead of the gun or anything. Like I said, it's my first day, but I definitely do feel comfortable, and a lot of the things that I've been told throughout this process by guys who've been through it, whether it's coaches or players, it's all kind of stayed true. So I'm very thankful for that.
You mentioned it's your first day. From the time you're how old, you dream of this day, right? Of walking into an NFL facility and getting some gear with the shield on it. Take me through this morning and today. What was that like for you?
It happens fast. I think for myself, I try to stay present as much as possible, and kind of soak in the moment. But like you said, it's something that I've dreamed of since I was young, and just like the other guys, I'm sure they've dreamed of it as well. So I'm really just trying to take each moment in. They emphasize a lot that, you're lucky to be in these seats, and you got to really wrap your head around that and understand that, you got one shot to do this. So you really got to put everything into it and make the most of it.
Who have you talked to anybody, former Buckeye guys in the Buckeye Brotherhood about what to expect at a rookie mini camp, the things that you need to do to impress?
Yeah, I mean, really it's the little things. I mean, the guys who have been at Ohio State, one thing we share in common is the work that we put in. And we know that what Mickey has put us through, the coaches have put us through practice. So really outside of the physical things, it's really a mental thing that you got to really lock in and stay in on the details, whether that's playbook, showing up early, just stuff, little things like that. The physical things will take care of itself. We've been playing this game since we were younger. It's really just, those little things, those mental aspects.
Ronnie, how do you think the fit is for you in a Jim Schwartz defense and what Bubba wants to do in special teams?
I think it fits really well. We've had meetings today and they've kind of introduced to us the scheme, the basics and stuff like that. But more so just what defines them as a defense. And I'm 100% on board with those things. And it's very similar to the background that I came from, and just very excited for the future.
Was it cool, seeing other guys from other Buckeyes in the rooms with you? I'm sure you've seen, big Thanos here and Luke, and you see a bunch of familiar faces. That had to help.
Yeah, it definitely does help seeing familiar faces. Just know that you're not going through it alone, and you can really connect with the guys that you were just in the locker room with a couple months ago. So it's like you're right back where you left off. So it's definitely a blessing.
Ronnie, always curious, is there something the Browns fans ought to know about you that they don't?
No, not for real.
What type of player are they going to get when you put on that helmet?
Like I said earlier, just a selfless player. I was taught from a young age. It's always been about the team. I don't play an individual sport. Neither does anyone else in this locker room. We play a team sport. So when it comes down to that, I'm willing to do everything that it takes to help the team win. And that's really been my mindset all my life playing sports. And it's, going to continue to be my mindset.
Now you do that and you match it with the talent that you have, my friend. It feels like bright things are in the future for you. Thank you so much for your time, Ronnie.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
All right, that's Ronnie Hickman, Cleveland Browns safety, former Buckeye safety. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Cleveland Browns Daily brought to you by Ballybet. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Browns fans are down to the top 5 designs for the new dog logo. Vote early. Let your voice be heard. Be sure to rank your favorite logo as the top 2 vote getters will advance to the final round. 1 vote per day. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/dog logo to cast your vote today. And now our new receiver, the first pick off the board for us in the 3rd round, out of Tennessee, Cedric Tillman at the podium. Let's have a listen.
What's been more of a whirlwind for you, the draft weekend or everything since draft weekend?
I would say draft weekend. You know, when I finally got picked up by the Browns, things kind of cooled off a little bit. You know, I came up here, met all the coaches and stuff, and just got prepared to come back here today. So, yeah, I think definitely draft weekend.
What do you hope to accomplish this weekend, Cedric?
Just, learning my teammates, learning the plays, just showing the coaches how much I care about football, and just overall buying into the Cleveland Brown culture.
We talked about your size when we talked to you during the draft, but how important is that to your game? And do you feel like it's kind of a dimension that maybe this receiving core needed that you bring to it?
This receiver core, was good. Before I came here, I'm just going to try to look after those older guys and try to, follow after them. But definitely, I do think I bring something to the table, my size, my ability, what I can do. So, just trying to make plays for this offense.
Said, were you ever close to just shutting it down last year and not playing through what you went through?
No. Me getting the surgery, the goal was always to come back and help my team win a championship.
How much can I just follow up? Were you asked that in the pro interviews? You came back?
Yeah, a couple teams, coaches wanted to know. But like I said, my goal the whole time was to help my team win a championship.
So you picked 89. Anything behind it, or just what was available?
Right now, it was a number that's available, but, I'm not focused on a number right now. I'm just focused on, like I said, buying to the Cleveland Brown culture and ultimately getting a spot on the team.
What is the tightrope surgery like that you had?
It's a procedure, guys like Tua and stuff like that have gotten. Basically, it just kind of takes it from 6 to 8 weeks to 4 to 6 weeks, depending on how you heal. So that's why I got the surgery.
Steph Curry have that too?
I'm not sure if he had it.
What exactly is tightrope surgery compared to, I guess, regular ankles?
I'm not really a doctor. They tell me, hey, this is how you play. Obviously, they explained it to me. But like I said, I did it to get back on the field. So that's pretty much what I know.
How much have you gotten into the playbook at this point?
I've gotten to it a lot. Like I said, like they said, that's the number one thing. You can't be out there if you don't know the plays. So, just studying the playbooks with the other receivers and other guys here, that's my number one priority right now.
What's your first, impression, reaction when you get that and you start thumbing through it and looking at the terminology, looking at the route trees and things like that?
It's definitely different. But like I said, I had a lot of different coaches and different offenses while I was in college, so it's nothing I can't handle.
What's the big takeaway for you of the conversations you've been able to have with some of the other receivers and when digging into that playbook? What's striking you the most?
It's just a lot right now. We're all new. We got to get used to the system. We're a little bit behind the pack, but that's okay. So, right now it's so important for all of receivers just to stick together and learn the playbook together.
Kind of that, Cedric, to have Marquise Goodwin, who's a veteran, right? So you're a rookie, he's a veteran, but you're both coming in at the same time. Has that been any help to have him there with you?
Yeah, for sure. I haven't talked to him personally, but, the things I've heard about him, I know he'll definitely be a great mentor for me.
Do you intend to stay next week?
Yeah, absolutely. I know my schedule. I know there's some things on it, but, whatever they tell me to do, that's what I'm doing.
Does this feel like a job already?
Yeah, I think it does. Like, it kind of just hit on me like, dang, this is really my job. So, obviously, it's a fun job.
I was going to say, is it important to keep that balance of having as much fun with the game you love to play as it is a profession?
Yes, sir. Obviously, football, sport, I love to play. Obviously, ultimately want to have fun. But at the end of the day, it is a job and a business.
You and Dorian spent a lot of time together since you guys both got drafted?
Absolutely. We're both from Vegas. We're literally like 10, 15 minutes away from each other. So, it's still crazy that, we're both here.
Does it help, you and him are both kind of, learning the playbook together. As a quarterback receiver that you've had that relationship before, can you guys kind of work together to kind of learn learning together?
Absolutely. Like I said, me and Dorian, this isn't our first rodeo. We played together 4 years in high school. So, just having that relationship with him, is cool.
What was the offense like in high school?
It wasn't as this big, but it's definitely a spread offense and stuff like that. We like to throw the ball around, run the ball. So
similar to Tennessee?
No, not similar to Tennessee. Yeah, not similar.
What was the difference then?
Well, Tennessee's offense, I would more say it's a tempo offense. You know what I'm saying? That's how I would describe it best.
How successful was your high school team? Must have been pretty good with you.
Yeah, we were real successful. We had other guys like Bubba. He's one of our other teammates on the team. We won, I think, 9 straight state championships and a couple national championships, so we were pretty good.
There's a lot of receivers from the SEC who have made immediate marks in the NFL. Jamar Chase didn't even play that COVID year of college, and he made a big impact. So is that encouraging to you that the learning curve isn't what it might have used to be?
Yeah, like I said, myself, I have goals for the year. I want to contribute for the team, and that's what I'm going to do.
What is it about the SEC that seems to really prepare players like yourself for this level, do you think?
I haven't played yet on this level, but, I think definitely we have the best competition. I think you go against the best week in and week out. So, they always say the SEC has the most drafted guys every year, so I think that has something to do with it.
What's the biggest adjustment a receiver has to make going? I know you're just making that adjustment, but from talking to guys who have made it before, what do they say is the biggest thing a receiver has to overcome making that jump from college to the NFL?
A lot of people say just the speed and attention to detail. You got to be smart. So I'll say those 3 things. College, you can kind of get away with things here and there, but, when you're going against the best week in and week out, one mistake could cost you that game.
Cedric, I know you want to do big things at this level. What does it mean, though, to have 10 catches for 200 yards against that Georgia defense?
It was really cool. I just went out there, did my best. But like I said, that's in the past now. Now hopefully I can do that for the Browns.
When you were being recruited at Tennessee, was that a selling point to you that, hey, all these guys come out of the SEC to go to the NFL? Would they say you with that? Or?
Yeah, I knew already, going against the best of the best, I would have to go to the SEC. So luckily I was able to have an opportunity to do exactly that.
How much of a challenge was it to get through last year with the injury and then, your teammate is suddenly the number 1 guy?
Mm-hmm.
And although you were pursuing a national championship, did you wonder what is this going to do to my pro career?
No, I just control what I could control. So, injuries happen as part of the game. Like I said, my job is just to show up week in and week out and prepare. So, nothing but happy actually for Hyatt, what he did, a big brother, like my little brother to me. So, like I said, that's in the past now, and, just keep preparing for now here.
Were you totally healthy for the senior combine and workouts that you did?
Yes, I was healthy.
All right, there's Cedric Tillman from the podium, 3rd-round pick of the Cleveland Browns. Just
you're up.
A couple of things, just from you want to talk about the stage that the kid's been on. You play wide receiver at Bishop Gorman in Vegas. That's one of the most prominent high school football programs in the country. They won several national championships. That's a big. I understand everything's a step, but he's been on a big stage for a long time. Then you go to Tennessee and you play in that tempo air raid offense that he's played in at Tennessee, and you say, boy, that strikes a lot of chords as well. Obviously, not many similarities in terms of what they ran at Tennessee to what we run, but just from the standpoint of the ball was in the air a lot for him there. And you got your first look at him out there. What did you make of what you saw? It's throwing around on air, but running some routes. What did you see?
I'd say the thing that struck me the most about watching Cedric Tillman is obviously his size. He moves very naturally. He's an athlete, but just the way he catches the ball, it's just pure every time, just like it's sick. He envelops the ball, obviously DTR looks great throwing on air. No surprise that they had a nice chemistry. But what stood out to me was just the way he catches the ball, the sound it makes when he catches the ball. Absolutely a hands catcher, everything away from his body, everything in kind of that perfect diamond. And you could just tell this is a guy that if the ball is near him, he's going to catch it. And I think that's one of the things you look for. No double catches at any point that I saw. Everything just looked very, very natural for him, very pure for him. And he's an impressive physical specimen. Moves, easy mover, I would call it. I don't think they're opening it up completely to see, what kind of speed he has. But in terms of understanding body control, you can just tell he's a plus. He's a plus athlete. Obviously, he's in the National Football League, but the ease with which he catches the ball the right way stands out. He is a great, great natural hands catcher, and I think that's a huge thing. I mean, you got to be able to get open, and then you've got to be able to catch the ball. I have no concerns just after watching the way that he catches it about that. That jumped out to me. It kind of looked like, and obviously this is. I'm not suggesting in any way, let me caveat this, I'm not suggesting he is anything like him as a receiver or will be like a pro, but the way in which he catches the ball and the way his hands seem to be very strong and envelop the ball reminds me of Larry Fitzgerald, who I think is one of the best hands catchers, high point catchers, probably in NFL history, but that's what it reminded me of, the way that he catches the football.
Yeah, and I think goes back to what I was saying about the Bishop Gorman stuff and then the fact of the offense that he played in the last couple of years under Josh Heupel at Tennessee. This is an operation, and he has been being groomed for being a professional football wide receiver for a very long time.
Yes.
Like this isn't something like, you got great size and you've blossomed into this. Like he's been this for a while. This is very second nature to him. So it doesn't surprise me at all that that's what it looked like to you in person.
Yeah, it was just, again, it's the hands, the strength of the hands, and the ball making that sound. DPJ has great hands. Amari has great and it just sticks right in there. And so that I thought stood out. Didn't really get to see a ton of stuff. Siaki Ika is a monstrous man and very powerful. You could see that quite clearly. Isaiah McGuire is a big guy as well, and got to see him move and moves pretty easy for a big athlete, 6'4", 275. I got it. Cam Mitchell looks kind of like Greg Newsome out there, honestly, which was kind of funny to me.
Yeah.
And then Hickman, I noticed he looks like a good athlete as well, obviously coming out of Ohio State. But you didn't really get to see a whole lot. Luke Whippler.
Tough.
If I was going to, in my assessment out there, the two things that struck me the most, number one, Cedric Tillman and the ease with which he catches the football and just how natural it is and how strong he is at the catch point would be one. And then the other would be, I think Luke Whippler is going to be a stud, period. It will not be for a lack of not wanting to or not doing everything the right way. Callahan was already using him to show other guys how to do drills after he did them once, and he was like helping the other guys. It feels like he is going to be football junkie, does everything the right way, and that's what you had told me, when we drafted him. That was the book on him coming out of Ohio State. And so I think the Browns are very lucky that he came out maybe a year early, and I think he's going to be very lucky that he came out at a time when the Browns were able to get him where they did, and he's going to be able to learn with Bill Callahan. But I think he will be, if you said, give me somebody who's going to be a long-term starter in the NFL just on watching 5 seconds, I'd say Luke Whippler. It just felt like he's going to do everything the right way. And so if he's talented enough, and by all accounts he is, then I think he will be very successful in this league.
The feeling in Columbus was shock that he left. The feeling in Columbus was that he was going to anchor their offensive line and that next year would have been, a second-round pick had he come back. I mean, that's kind of the way, second, third-round pick is kind of what they thought he would be. And I think he thought he would be that now, quite honestly. And so that's theft in the 6th round if that transitions that way. But no, I'm happy to hear that because I know that it was very difficult for him that he wasn't drafted higher.
Sure.
But once you get over that disappointment, what it comes down to, I think, is the fit. And this is the perfect fit for him. And if you think about what Bill Callahan has done with talented players at that position, the way that he coaches that position up specifically, good night. I mean, there is a lot going on there from a talent standpoint. So I love to hear that out of him. That's not surprising to me at all out of him. He feels like the guy from a talent standpoint who could be somebody who's around for a while for us and potentially a starter at center for us down the line for sure. He's got that in the pedigree.
No doubt. And then his teammate DeJuan Jones obviously stands out from his size, stands out from his power. He almost threw the sled kind of into the air, which was unbelievable to see live. But I think, one of the things they talk about, weight, conditioning, all of that. He had to take a knee for a little while. He went and then did resume practicing. But, you want to see him be able to get through all of these things and be able to function at a high level throughout, the course of this rookie minicamp and this season. But he, you can tell the strength and the power. It's going to take he's going to have to commit to mastering the techniques, and I think Callahan's going to be hard on him from what I saw and help him get there. The other thing is that Siaki Ika is it's a monstrous human as well. Just a big, low to the ground, strong guy, even though he's a lot taller than he seems. But good to see that DeJuan's back out there. But, yeah, the two things that stood out to me, Tillman and Whippler for sure.
Did you get a look at Hassan Hall, the undrafted running back out of Georgia Tech?
Far away, he's wearing 30. He looked like Dearness, you know what I mean? He looked like he ran well, caught the ball naturally, but it wasn't, you weren't seeing him chased or anything like that. But from a distance, he looked good.
So Matt Waldman from the rookie scouting portfolio
our guy.
did a big write-up on him after we signed him, even though it was official today. I guess it's been known for a few days. He did a big breakdown. He's going to join us next week, but he's in love with him. And he goes, you've got your replacement for Dearnest and possibly Kareem Hunt as well. Very, very high on the running back out of Georgia Tech.
No, and listen, the Browns are going to have
to. It when he was high on Chubb, right?
Love Chubb. He thought Chubb was the best running back in that draft, yeah. Look, we are going to have in certain places on this roster to be able to do some of the other things. So that makes sense that, you're paying right now a big penny to Nick Chubb, that the rest of that room's got to be relatively cheap. And so it feels like if this guy can do the job, that would be a great thing for the Browns.
Yeah, it certainly would. Tillman in 89.
Yeah, so people are going nuts about this. And maybe I'm a buffoon. Maybe I don't know. I don't see what the big deal is that he's wearing 89. People are going absolutely crazy about it.
I don't know if a lot. I think some on social are.
Everybody's like, got to get rid of that number. It's a terrible number. So we all know Steve Smith, right?
Yeah.
Steve Smith was a great 89. Doug Baldwin was an excellent 89. James Jones was a good 89. Santana Moss wore 89. And then on our roster, I don't know how many people remember this, but I do. That's what Amari Cooper wore when he was drafted. His entire Raiders career, he was 89. Andre Bad Moon Rison was 89. There's 89 is not a.
Was he always? I thought he was 80.
He was 80 as well, but he also wore 89. It's not a terrible number.
No, I think the thing to remember here, there's a couple of things that the NFL.
I'm not saying it's going to be permanent, by the way, but I'm just saying.
Well, but also there's not a lot of options. So we know that Stefanski will not give a single digit to a rookie.
Yep.
For whatever reason, he won't do that. So that's his policy. He won't do it. So the only single digit that's available is 6. And like I said, he's not going to give that. That could be maybe Rodney McLeod's going to wear 6. Who knows what happens on that?
What did JOK wear in college?
It's single. I can't remember what it was. But didn't he ask about 6?
Yeah, but 6 was spoken for, and then I maybe this year he gets a chance to move to it.
I know it was a rook. Yeah, that's right. 6 at the time it was spoken for, but yes. I remember they wouldn't let him wear a. I just remember from building the Browns, they wouldn't let him wear a single digit.
Yeah, he was 6 in college. JOK. Okay. So maybe they will. Yeah. Maybe this year they would consider allowing him to do so.
Well, the thing you have to be careful of, though, is if you make all those jerseys.
Well, that's the thing, right?
You can't do the flip.
The buyout and all the things that come along with that. Right. You're exactly right.
Yeah. So 6 is available.
Yep.
The only other, and then you go the teens, since the NFL opened up wide receivers can wear teens. 14 is retired for Otto, and then that's it. So the only single digit or teen that's available is 6. That's it.
Yep.
Everything else is spoken for. And the problem here is right now the NFL is requiring kickers and punters to wear single digits or teens. Since they opened up single digits to everybody else, they've got to put the kickers and punters, allow them to wear numbers in the 40s, and then you're solved.
Agreed. The other thing
that solves it.
The other thing I would say is the number that I didn't like the most out of the ones that we saw, to me, was the Siaki Ika 62. Like, who's a 62?
Yeah, 62's tough. That feels like a guard only.
Feels like offensive line. So the best players, you've got a Guy McIntyre.
Sure.
Tunch Ilkin, Gibbe.
Yep.
Legend.
Hoff.
Yeah. Joe Tooney. Yeah. Evan Dietrich Smith. These are the names that I even recognize are guards. He's got to get out of 62.
The 80s that were available, is 80 retired for us? 8-0?
No,
so
because
8-0's
didn't
open?
Jarvis wear that?
Jarvis wore 80, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So 80's open, 86 is open, 89 is open. So those were the 80 numbers that were available.
80 was 80's
or 87 is open too. 87. Yeah.
Well, Dalen Baldwin is now 87. I saw that. Yeah, I'm surprised we don't have an 80. 80 was, what's wrong with 80? 80's a great number.
80's a great number. Yeah.
I'm surprised.
And I think 89's better than 86.
Oh, definitely. 86.
Sure.
The first 86 comes on as like Irving Fryer, Andre
Brian
Rison,
Brennan.
Brian Brennan.
Let's go.
Who was 89?
There was a guy for the Packers that wore 86. I'm blanking on it. Freeman, Antonio
Freeman.
Yeah.
Wore 86.
Yeah.
So, all right. So much more to come. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
You're up 1 minute.
See these rookies out here doing some work. I like the Luke Whippler observation out of you. That'll make people very happy. And then Tillman with the hand. That thwop is the way it kind of sounds when it sounds right. That's the best way I can think of to describe it when it hits a receiver's hands who knows what they're doing. And so that's exciting. This is fun. I'm in no hurry to get to football. It'll be here before we know it. But I will admit this week was pretty fun.
Yeah.
With the schedule release, guys out here, it's fun.
Yes, this is exciting, and it's going to, wet our whistle for a little bit. And
30.
I'm in no rush through summer, but yeah, this is going to be about the games that happen, but there are going to be some steps to take along the way, and I think that'll be fun.
All right, very good. The next level is coming up next. Keep it locked to clevelandbrowns.com and the Browns social media platforms all weekend for rookie mini camp coverage. Have a great weekend, everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.